What is up, everybody? It's Silververse TV here today. So usually, gaming journalists don't usually defend Microsoft or call out Sony, but the past few days since this whole like Jim Ryan going on his little crying rant about how Microsoft is hurting gaming by being anti-competitive and talking to the CMA about how it's protecting gamers. Journalists have been calling Sony out, and right now specifically, this has been hilarious. We have one guy from IGN who says, "We want to guarantee PlayStation gamers continue to have the highest quality gaming experiences, and we appreciate the CMA's focus on protecting gamers. Xbox has repeatedly committed to Call of Duty staying multi-platform. Meanwhile, here's Sony's version of protecting gamers, and all this exclusive content for Modern Warfare, Final Fantasy VII, and Harry Potter as well, Hogwarts Legacy, PlayStation exclusive content." So they kind of call Sony's hypocrisy right here. This is one journalist. Another journalist says Sony's giving Microsoft control of Activision games like Call of Duty would have major negative implications for gamers and the future of the game industry. Also, Sony, it's like, how are you saying Microsoft is doing all this anti-consumer stuff? They're trying to stop competition when Sony keeps doing this exclusive content nonsense only for their platforms, only so you can buy their games mainly on their platforms. You get exclusive content, so it's just ridiculous. But our favorite fanboy journalist who says he's a neutral but is a huge Sony fanboy, he responds to the other journalist, says, yes, because getting early access to a beta demo and costumes is exactly the same as being worried a major franchise will get locked out of your platform, like what happened with Starfield and Elder Scrolls after a large acquisition. But it's like if you're counting like them blocking games out to be as anti-consumer, then what do you feel about this? If they keep making exclusive content, because it's like you own all platforms. Like I said before in the previous video about the Harry Potter situation, I want to get the Harry Potter Hogwarts Legacy game, but I might get on PlayStation because it's literally because you get exclusive content on that version. So if you have all platforms, it makes no sense. Even though I like Xbox is my preferred platform, but it makes no sense to get on Xbox if PlayStation is literally liking content to their one version. So, in a sense, they're stopping competition right there. That's not forcing competition. That's stopping it because everybody's gonna buy that game or your version if they want to get the extra content. So, and like it's some scumbag stuff at the end of the day. So it's like it's complete hypocrisy for Sony to do this, to call out Microsoft for buying studios, to legit compete against Sony because Sony keeps doing these deals like this. So it just doesn't make any sense how fanboys and journalists, journalist fanboys in this instance, will defend Sony and call out Microsoft. I was like, are you serious here? You're gonna call out Microsoft, but not call out Sony for the practices that they do. And he's trying to say it's not as a minor, it's not as major as the Starfield, Elder Scrolls, or Activision Blizzard situation. But this is just as messed up. It's just as messed up in my opinion. So I don't know. This guy is always defending Sony when it's just ridiculous. It's like, really, you're not gonna call out Sony at all over anything. He didn't call out Sony over anything they've done it recently. Only Xbox, which is just insane. But he's supposed to be a neutral journalist at that. Then he follows up and says Microsoft has every right to make games exclusive if they are paying that much money for acquisitions, but at least they should be genuine about their intentions. Just buy a PC or buy an Xbox. It's literally that simple. Okay, so this guy has a gaming PC, but he's still butthurt about Microsoft getting games as exclusive to their platform and on PC. It's like, why is he so butthurt then if you can play these games? All you need is to do is purchase an Xbox Series X and S, or play a tablet, smartphone, or the app, or Samsung TV. I'd even bet you have a 3K PC/rig. You can play there as well. I don't know why he's so butthurt. He can play these games on all these different platforms. But I don't know why this dude is so butthurt. I wonder if Sony bought exclusivity for Starfield, you'll be singing a different tune. Cope. So what is this? It says Sony was reportedly in talks to sign Starfield before Xbox does the buyout. So Sony was trying to make these games exclusive, but they're butthurt that Microsoft did it to their platform. That's interesting. Yeah, I remember when this picture was circulating like a few months ago. When I was like, all these different Spider-Man related games were on Xbox. The original Xbox, the OG Xbox, the 360, the Xbox One, I'm pretty sure as well too, somewhere in here. But you know, once we come to no, it wasn't Xbox One because they did the PS4 nonsense. So Xbox, the original Xbox was 360. But once they went to the PS4, it's like Spider-Man became an exclusive property on PlayStation, or gaming property at that. So just nonsense. But they have the audacity to talk about Microsoft. Just ridiculous. Why is Spider-Man exclusive, which is a bigger brand than Call of Duty and Elder Scrolls combined? Yeah, isn't Spider-Man like the most popular superhero of all time, the most recognizable one? It's definitely, if not the most popular, one of the most popular. I know for Marvel-wise, I don't know about it for DC, but Marvel-wise, I think Spider-Man is probably the most popular superhero. And they said, hey, let's make the most popular superhero on Marvel, or overall in general, be exclusive to our platform. That's like, okay. But that's not anti-competitive right there. So this guy says, these people are just being hypocrites like usual. Xbox had an exclusive deal with Call of Duty before PlayStation, but when PlayStation does the same deal, suddenly PlayStation is evil and Xbox is good. I mean, this is back in 360 generation. Pretty much Call of Duty was associated with Xbox because it was called the shooter box back then, but I'm not like I'm an expert back on that time period because that was a while ago. That was a long time ago. I was probably like in high school when that was relevant. So I don't know. That was a long time ago. I mean, you could probably have some merit right there, but I don't know. I'm not gonna act like I'm an expert back in this time period because I was like legit like a teenager when this was going on. Starfield is a new IP, not a major franchise. You know, just like Deathloop and Ghostwire. And our new IPs, and we have to wait for both. Starfield would have been the same fate if not acquisition. Maybe Sony abusing their market leader position to put them there. Cry more. Yeah. They're so butthurt. So he said, the sad thing is dudes like Tom and Dustin don't care about actual facts. They just care about their bias and want easy clicks. Actual facts equals things that match my emotional opinion. Yeah, so it's so funny how triggered some of these guys are over this. That's kind of hilarious. Microsoft purchased the studio. The franchise belongs to it now. Accept it. They really should at this point because when Sony buys a franchise to be exclusive, they mostly are gonna be exclusive. There's only like the exception with like Destiny, but most of these games will be exclusive when Sony purchases them. That's just like the common thing at this point. So I don't know why they're so butthurt and they expect Microsoft's games to be multi-platform at this point. It's just so ridiculous. People comparing Sony exclusives to an already well-established Call of Duty that has millions of players. Well, I'm pretty sure Spider-Man was well-established. Like, what are you talking about? Final Fantasy was well-established, too. I was like, a lot of these games that never hit Xbox because Sony had exclusive deals were well-established. But, you know, you know how Sony rolls at this point. Try harder. It is kind of insane when you are legit a journalist and your audience base is just roasting you at that. Cry more Game Pass day one. That has to be like pretty interesting when you're like a legit journalist and people just roast you on a daily basis because you're cringy fanboy takes at this point. Jim Cryan said he's worried about the players, but doesn't he think about the players on other platforms? That, given his policies, have to play the games later or not play them at all. He doesn't care about the players. He only cares about Sony's money. So they offering this guy a tissue? He probably needs one right now because he's super butthurt. You're still going? My God, Sony just pay him already. He is not under Sony's payroll. We don't know legal. We don't know exactly, but he's acting like he's on their payroll. Using market positions to leverage exclusivity over competition that can have adverse effects over the competition is the very definition of anti-competitive and anti-consumer behavior. The whataboutism for you is hilarious. How is this dude verified? Yeah, it's kind of crazy that even if somebody, I guess because they work at a prestigious journalist website before or journalist media source, they can get verified. This dude is a huge fanboy. Like, it's just ridiculous. Or you can have fanboys be verified. It's ridiculous. So exclusives are bad when it's from Microsoft. Okay, I understand. Yeah, these people who are so against Microsoft having games potentially be exclusive have no problem with Sony makes their games exclusive. I wonder why. Aren't you the same person who's criticized Xbox that they didn't have exclusives? Why do you cry so much? Yes, because when Xbox doesn't have exclusives, it's a good thing. But when Xbox does have exclusives, it's a bad thing, pretty much. Starfield is a new IP. It's nice, and that it's exclusive. Elder Scrolls hasn't been confirmed to be exclusive. I think they truly just like Sony being on top. They don't want anybody to threaten Sony being on top because, sure, people can say Nintendo's on top because they sell the most, but like to the hardcore gamers, people don't consider Nintendo hardcore at all. Like it's kind of like the same situation during the 360, PS3 period, and the Wii period. It was like the Wii was selling a lot of consoles, but it was like people who like people's grandmas and their aunties were buying the Wii to play like the bowling, the sports, and like the Wii Fit game. So it's kind of like the same thing with the Switch. It's like the hardcore gamer who's probably like watching my channel in general. I mean, they probably ain't really checking out the Switch like that as a cool secondary console, sure, but you want to play like some hardcore games, you're probably playing with Xbox or PlayStation. So, and they don't want Sony's position to be threatened pretty much because Sony's kind of on top right now, but they don't want that to be. They don't want them to be. They don't want to be knocked down a peg, pretty much. Let's see. Sony has been the most aggressively egregious exclusivity-based platform for literal years, leveraging the facts that major titles can only be played on PlayStation just by spending the last several generations, offering inferior services across the board. They don't get to whine. Yeah. Let's see. Sony fans, let me reiterate what I was told on the internet for years as someone on Xbox. If you want the exclusives, buy the console. Exclusives are an important part of the console war. Smile. Buy an Xbox. Pretty simple. Or you can play on that PC that you got. He's got a valid point. People using early access to a beta or skins as some pride of own are being pathetic. Really? Because if you got every console, you're gonna buy the game on that console with the exclusive stuff on it. So you pretty much, so it's kind of ridiculous for people to actually compare these game sales. When it's kind of like the version who got the exclusive content is probably gonna get the most sales. So it's like, at the end of the day, this exclusivity nonsense. It's like you can't call out Microsoft without calling out Sony. It's just like hypocrisy at the end of the day. So I'm gonna conclude it right here. Let's kind of beat a dead horse at this point, but yeah. This guy being verified is completely ridiculous. Like this guy is super biased as a legit journalist in the gaming industry. This guy is super biased. It's kind of ridiculous that this guy has a check mark, but whatever. But yeah, definitely see your thoughts down below about this. Leave a like for this video. As always, thanks for watching and peace.